Hello and welcome to the second part of this two-part video series in which we teach you how to pick the right first baby foods for weaning.
In case you have not watched the first part, we recommend going back and watching that video first. It teaches you the 3 criteria according to which we recommend picking first baby foods for weaning if you want to minimize digestive issues in your baby from feeding her solids.
Now the only question left is what kind of foods fulfill those criteria that we have introduced. So in this video, we're going to present you the actual list of foods which you can feed your baby.
Coming up. Welcome to Care About Little Ones. I am Matthias.
And I am Natalie.
And on this channel we share all of our experience to help parents help their children naturally.
So subscribe to our channel if you like.
Alright, so what are the best first baby foods for babies from 4 to 9 months of age? And by the way, no need to take any notes, you can download that list on our website. We'll link to it in the description of this video.
On the vegetable side we have taro, winter squash, turnips, sweet potatoes, carrots, parsnips, and peas. There is also a fruit on the list which is papaya. In fact, at that age, papaya is the only fruit which fulfills our criteria.
Now, what do these foods have in common? Well, first of all, they all have a sweet flavor, which is important if we want to support the baby's spleen to build a strong digestion. And yet, despite that sweet flavor, their sugar content is not really high. But most importantly, these foods neither have a cooling nor a warming effect on the body because they are neutral. That neutrality, together with the low sugar content and sweet flavor, make them the ideal first baby foods up to the age of 9 months if you want to minimize digestive issues in your baby from feeding her solids. Now, here is what you need to keep in mind. Up to the age of 7 months, your baby's diet should strictly be limited to the foods from the list which we've just seen. No exceptions. However, from 8 months onwards, you may also feed your baby foods from the list that we're going to see in just a second. That second list is actually meant for babies from 10 months of age and older, but it is okay to feed your baby foods from that list if she is at least 8 months of age, if she has not suffered from any major digestive issues so far, and if you do it the right way, which we'll teach you in just a minute.
So let's have a look at the list of foods which are meant for babies from 10 months of age and older. On the vegetable side we have spinach, kale, broccoli, radish, beans, cabbage savoy, zucchini, pumpkin, red cabbage, leek, and beets. On the fruit side we have avocado, raspberry, strawberry, blackberry, wild Alaskan blueberry, peach, pears, apples. But we can also add the following grains: quinoa, oats, and rice, as well as the following kinds of meat: chicken and beef. And finally, you can also introduce cheese, but this should only be the exception.
As we have seen, all foods that are on the list have a sweet flavor and are therefore ideal to support your baby's spleen. They also contain a relatively low amount of sugar except from apples, pears and peaches, so please only feed these sugary fruits in moderation. In other words, do not feed them on a daily basis, and when you do offer them, limit the amount, for example, to half an apple per day only. Now, you might have recognized that some foods on the list are neutral, i.e. they neither have a cooling nor a warming effect. So why are they not on the list from 4 months plus? Well, it's because they are a little bit difficult to digest. For example, from a nutritional point of view, cabbage and beans are great foods. However, young babies will have a hard time digesting them, so please only introduce them later on. Moreover, as mentioned already, it is okay to introduce foods from the 10-month plus list at an earlier stage if your baby is at least 8 months old, if she has not suffered from any major digestive issues so far, and if you do it the right way.
So what does the right way mean? First of all, in general, neutral foods are to be favored over foods which have either a cooling or a warming effect. Moreover, if you feed your baby food with a cooling effect, combine it with a food which has a warming effect, and vice versa. So for example, you could feed her quinoa with spinach. That's because quinoa is a warming food, however spinach is a cooling food. Therefore they are a match.
Once your baby is at least 10 months of age, you can weaken that rule a little bit. At that age, you do not have to combine foods anymore to have that strict neutral balance. For example, you can feed your baby blueberries, which have a cooling effect, without combining them with foods which have a warming effect. Just make sure that the overall diet is neither too cool nor too warm. So, putting your baby on a diet with overly cooling or warming foods only should be avoided at any cost. But if it's a good mix of neutral, cooling and warming foods, that's great.
The only food that you should strictly introduce from 10 months only is cheese. And even then it should only be the exception rather than the rule. That's because cheese is a dairy product, and in my experience from treating my little patients, dairy products do more harm than good despite their good reputation. In fact, apart from cheese, other dairy products should only be introduced from 12 months onwards. An exception is formula milk, of course.
Alright, so let's sum this up. First, when your baby is between 4 and 9 months of age, feed her foods from the first list. From 10 months onwards, feed her foods from the second list. But of course, you can continue feeding her foods from the first list too. Also, if you must, you can introduce foods from the second list at an earlier stage, if your baby is at least 8 months of age, if she has not suffered from any major digestive issues so far, and if you do it the right way, which means combining warm and cool foods to have a neutral overall balance. Now listen, if you manage to persevere and stick to that diet over the first 12 months of your baby's life, trust us, it will pay off.
Absolutely.
It may seem hard at first, but keep in mind that the kind of diet that we propose here can make all the difference for your baby. Not only will your baby be less prone to develop digestive issues, less stomachache eventually means a more relaxed and a less fussy baby.
Absolutely. The other thing is that by supporting your baby's digestive system at such a young age, you ultimately help the body to build a strong foundation in terms of her digestion. And keep in mind that a strong digestion is the very key to the good health of your child later on.
Some 80% of the immune tissue is located in your baby's gut. Moreover, the condition of your baby's digestion determines how she mentally and physically feels. Please do keep that in mind when you start weaning, because it makes it so much easier for you to persevere.
Exactly. If you have found this video helpful, consider leaving us a like and subscribing to our channel if you want to see more videos from us in the near future.